Hey, hi, hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Shannon. Nice to meet you. How you doing? I hope you're doing so very well. Today I am bringing you a floss tube. Now, I already tried to film this video because I prefer to do my floss tubes in my living room because it's a cleaner background and do my book videos in front of my shelves. I had an incident. I'm going to pop a little recording on screen and it will explain why I'm no longer filming in that location. That was such a pathetic woo. Ah, fucking spider! No, no, no. So yeah, that was a moment. I'm glad I wasn't all the way through my projects, or else it would have been a nightmare. I only got like 2 projects in, so I'm happy about that. But I'm also a little bit annoyed that I can't film where I want to film because I just don't. I don't. Okay, we don't mess with it. Anyways, that is not what you're here for today. You are here for a floss tube. And I took a couple of months off of making videos because life got chaotic, but now it has stabled out and I feel like I'm in a better place to make videos now. So I have 3 months worth of cross stitch progress to show you today, and I'm so excited about it. The first thing I want to go over is my Wipgo board. If you don't know what Wipgo is, it is an amazing idea created by Jessie Marie Does Stuff. I'm sure you already know of Jessie Marie Does Stuff. I will leave the video explaining Wipgo link down below in case you're interested and haven't stumbled across this. But it is essentially a bingo board where you put your projects in a numbered slot. Jessie calls a number 2 numbers every month, and that is the project that you work towards your goal on. This is my third like version of this board. I made the first version before January. Then I started stitching in January, realized I had been way ambitious and scaled back. Then about midway through January, I realized that I was still being way too ambitious and scaled back again. This is the scaled back, hopefully not too ambitious version of the board. And I hope that I learn from this in the future that I am not a machine. The first call I got in January was to complete a page in the Move Forward in Love project pattern by Modern Folk Embroidery. For every whip I have, I will put a little calling card which will tell you what it is, where I got it from, what I'm stitching it on, and the start date. So that should be on screen at this moment. If you're not a fan of stats or numbers, then I may not be the channel for you. I really enjoy seeing my progress not only on the pattern or the project, but also in my spreadsheets, in my journals. Like, I like to have the numbers and to see my progress and have goals. So that will be included in my floss tube updates. That's what I'm trying to say. So I done 1,290 stitches on this project, and it now gives me a total of 1,545 stitches. I am 25% of the way through, and this is how she's looking. I will pop a picture here of where I was at the start of the year, and this is where I am at now. I have changed this drastically from the original. This is the there's a picture of the original on screen. I decided to make this bicolors, the bicolor flag, to make it just that little bit more personal to me. Um, because I wanted my bi flag representation. So I also realized that I can stitch this so many times and I can do loads of different pride flags in loads of different colorways, and I really love that. But the first one I wanted to do was one that represented me. So I'm really loving this. I'm loving how it turns out. Also, this fabric is lovely. Oh, I think I have a needle in there somewhere. Is this beautiful blue wash fabric? Sorry, none of my stuff is ironed, by the way. I'm not that organized. This is a fabric by River Hut Designs on Etsy. When I tell you I'm obsessed, I mean I'm obsessed. And you will see in a minute just how obsessed I actually am. But yeah, that was my progress on this project. The second project I had called for January was the Supernatural Style by the Witchy Stitcher. I'm going to pop in a picture here. I did not work on this because I realized I had picked it up and I realized that I had made a mistake somewhere, and I'm either going to need to frog or count to find it. So I wasn't in the right headspace to do any of that. So this project got no progress from the last time that you seen it. And I will pull this out eventually. Now that I am a bit more settled and everything's a bit more stable, I will be pulling this out and fixing that error. But I didn't do it in January, so this project still looks like this. The first Wipgo in February, I got to stitch on Firefly by Amy Stewart, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and I put my goal as 1,000 stitches on this when it was called, but not only did I reach that goal, I went above and beyond. So I got 1,289 stitches in February, and then in March I got a further 741 stitches, bringing this to a total of 6%. Also, I'm sorry if you don't like hanging threads, but this Royal Rose method, um, where you stitch in a 10 by 20 block, park underneath, is like a game changer for me because it just works with my brain. But look how much I have done. I am 6% of the way through this now. I'm so happy. I'm so like I love stitching on this full coverage. I'm finding my ways and means of making this more like easier for me, finding what process I like, and the Royal Rose method really seems to tickle a part of my brain apparently. So yeah, I am really impressed with this. I now have 6% on a mini HAED. Most of my projects are still on hoops and Q snaps because I'm not yet at a place in any of my projects that I need to take them out to show you. And I also rotate these quite regularly, that I don't really take them out of the hoops or Q snaps, which I know is bad. And I should make a conscious effort to try and get them off now and again. But unless I have to, I don't really take them off. Anyways, in February, the second number called was for me a new start, and I decided that I was going to start a little magic. This is by Stitcherovia on Etsy. I'm doing this on 18 count hand dyed fabric by River Hut Designs. I told you were going to see how obsessed I am as this video goes on. And this is this was started, I can't even remember. There will be a calling card in the corner to tell you when I started this. In February, I done 271 stitches as the start, and then in March, I put in another 895 stitches, which now brings this pattern to 13%, which seems insane because it it doesn't feel like this is 13%, but who am I to judge? Also, I'm a little annoyed because I made a mistake somewhere in here, like the I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but the stitches aren't sitting quite right in that cloud there, and I just don't know if I want to frog it or not. So what I've decided to do is just continue with the pattern, and if this bothers me at the end, I will then take it out and redo it. But if it doesn't bother me by the time I finish this pattern, then I'm just going to leave it. Also, I have this really cute needle minder that is by Wiki Designs, I believe. I will leave the name on screen. It's an Etsy shop. I have gotten a few of their all my needle minders are actually from there. So they do a fabric bag button as well. And yeah, I love Etsy. I love I love finding things like this. So I'm so happy with the progress on this, considering it was a new start. Moving on to March, I got my first call and it was to stitch on Ghostface. I didn't really have a set out goal for this. I just put it as stitch as much as I could, and unfortunately I wasn't really in the mood to do this. I put 93 stitches into this project, and that was on the night that I went to see Scream 6 in the cinema. So I was very much in the Ghostface vibe because I had just watched the new film. So I put in 93 stitches that night, and then I didn't touch it again for the rest of the month. So this is how it is looking at this moment. I mean, it's super cute. This, I'm kind of like changing the pattern though, because new stitcher me didn't leave enough room up here for the words that are on the original pattern. So I've decided to just use the Ghostface holding a phone. And I made the phone pink to like cuten it up. This is where you last seen it. This is where it is now. I believe I just done some stitches in this little corner here and brung it down a little bit. But yeah, it's fine. It's a lot of black stitching left, a lot of white stitching left. So hopefully I will get more on this project, but I'm not too stressed about it. It's very easy stitching. My next call was to stitch a letter on Noel. Now, this was a pattern that I hadn't started, but it was a pattern that I want to be done in by December so I can finish it and give it to my grandma for Christmas decoration. My grandma is the most Christmas obsessed person that I know. The joy and cheer that she gets around Christmas time is just like no other. It's just it brings me back to being a child, and I just love it. And I love my grandma, obviously, so I wanted to create something that she could keep and display every year along with her millions of Christmas decorations. So I decided to go with Noel by Stitcherovia again on Etsy. I'm doing this on 32 count light grey fabric, which is different. I'm enjoying it. It was a lot nicer, smoother, easier than I thought it would be. I have stitched 741 stitches on this. I am currently 7% of the way through, and this is what it looks like. The last project and this project obviously have no before photos because they're new starts, but I'm very happy with how this is looking. And again, I said that I was hoping that I wasn't super ambitious with my stitching on my Wipgo board, but I have been because I put a letter. The goal was to get a letter done. I didn't realize how much stitching goes into a letter of one of these. So I may have to change that on the Wipgo board. Like I can still aim for a letter, but I know that I will probably never be able to get a letter a month while stitching on other things. So it either needs to be changed on my Wipgo board, or I just count like whenever I finish a letter. If it's finished in the month that it's called, I just count it then. I have no idea, but this needs to be done by December anyway. So like I'm going to be stitching on this quite a bit because it is a Christmas gift. So my calls for April was Noel, a letter on Noel, which, as I just said, I don't know if that is how I'm going to work that. If I finish the N this month, then I count it as a win, even though I started it last month. I still finished a letter this month if I do. So I might just count it as if I finish the letter this month, then it gets a win on the Wipgo board. And then also the next call was 1,000 stitches on Firefly. So I get to come back to my full coverage, which I'm super happy about. This is like one of my favorite projects. I apparently really like the full coverage, which is scary because I've seen lots of people have lots of full coverage, and I'm like, I want to stitch all those things, but I'm also very aware I'm a new stitcher and I have quite a few projects on the go anyway, so I'm trying to be really good at not starting another full coverage until I have at least a page finish on my first one. That seems reasonable, right? So yeah, 1,000 pages on the 1,000 pages? Jesus. 1,000 stitches on this and a letter on Noel is my Wipgo goals for April, and that's what I will be trying to achieve. The last thing that I have to show you is a little bit of haul. So I would show you my threads, but there's, well, yeah, my floss, but there's no real point because I'm actually using CXC instead of DMC just because it's a cheaper alternative and I like that. Especially when you're using a lot of floss for like full coverage. I think I would use like DMC or fancy floss if I was doing like a really intricate project that called for it. But until then, I feel like the CXC has been totally fine. And I think it's been about 8 months, 9 months that I discovered cross stitch. I have acquired half a set of CXC and I've started now 8 projects. This hobby, like, I am an avid reader, I love reading, that is one of my main hobbies. This hobby is just as like bad. Like, when people say buying books and reading books are two different hobbies, it's the same with cross stitching. Stitching and buying stitching stuff are two totally different hobbies, and apparently I'm obsessed with both, which doesn't bode well for my bank account. But I will say, this is where my obsession with River Hut designs gets real. So I bought the January exclusive fabric because I seen it and became obsessed. Now, this is the fabric. It is absolutely beautiful. Also, a huge highlight to this dyer who serges their edges. Like, if you serge your edges, I will continue to buy your fabric for the rest of my life. Okay, this, adding this on to like the price that's already there, like having this little like pro, like, what is it, like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Jesus. Like, having this surged makes a huge difference when buying. I will continue to return to the seller, not only because their fabrics are absolutely fabulous, but the edges are surged, which is a huge plus for me because I can't serge my own edge. And the pricing is very reasonable for beautiful fabric and serged edges. Now, you may be wondering why, like, I have like such a big piece of fabric, what I plan to do with this, and I shall tell you. I have one more room on my Wipgo board for a new start. And originally I was going to do a full coverage Lord of the Rings inspired chart, but I'm not allowed to do another full coverage until I get a page finish on my Firefly, which is a rule I've set out for myself. So I seen long dog samplers, and I've seen a few people do them. And then I seen this fabric, and I'm not huge pink person. Like, I feel like I edge into cool tones. Like, my favorite color is teal. I really like teal and blue and green tones. But for some strange reason, I seen this and was like, how cool would a long dog look on this with just black? And I think decided, and I decided on Legal High for this piece of fabric. And I think the black and the pattern in this hot pink color was just going to look awesome. So the next time that new start comes up on my Wipgo board, I will be starting my very first long dog sampler on this beautiful fabric. So that is all I have to share with you today. I hope you enjoyed this Flosstube update. Let me know what you're stitching on in the comments. Let me know what your Wipgo calls were if you are taking part. And also, if you have a Flosstube, leave a comment down below. Let me know, and I will I really want to find more Flosstubers that I can watch. So leave a comment and I will look through your videos to see all your lovely projects because I am obsessed. And apart from that, I think that's all I have. So in April, I will be stitching 1,000 stitches on Firefly and hopefully finish the letter N on Noel. And then if I have free time, I will pick up whatever I'm feeling in the mood for. But I will hopefully come back soon with another update. Maybe not a 3-month update. I think a month, every month would be a good update time for me. I don't stitch enough to do every week. And doing that crow is really loud. And doing 3 months in one video gets a little confusing. So I think 1 month updates would be a good place to start. So that is the hopeful plan for the future. Again, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my cross stitching, and I thank you so very much for watching. Did I already say that? I have no idea. But that is all I have for you today. Remember to stay safe, happy, and healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye.
What do I have to lose? I'm already broken.